Joe Savage said that Hearts can win the league. Well, we're about to find out if it's going to be this season or not, because it is time for your Hearts 2022/2023 season preview. Now, I am going to do an individual Hearts preview, then I will do a cinch Premiership preview later on tonight. But first, let's talk a little bit about this upcoming season for Hearts and what we've got in store for us. In my opinion, this is a massive season, and as well as we did last year, as good as we did to cement ourselves and show that we were the third best team by quite a long way, I think this season is even more important. We've lost our best player, or at least our second best player. You can argue it's Craig Gordon, you could have argued it was John Souttar. Regardless, we've lost Souttar. It's going to be interesting to see how we cope without him. But not only that, I do think the other teams in the league they'll improve this season. They've got to improve. They were so bad last year. The teams that you expect to challenge us, the teams like Aberdeen, Hibs, we've got Dundee United who are looking strong this season. You've got Kilmarnock who are back in the top flight with a very good manager in Derek McInnes. So I do expect the competition to be a lot tougher this season. I don't think we'll have it easy. And I think last season was easy. We never looked like not finishing third. If anything, last season, for a period of time, we looked more likely to finish higher than third than we did below third. So that kind of shows you what the rest of the teams were doing. And what they were doing was not a lot. But yeah, massive season for us now. Also in Europe, need to try and do well in that. That should help us financially. We need to make sure we get back into Europe for next season. Now that third place in the league is pretty much guaranteed. Group stage football, with the way our coefficient is, it's absolutely vital that we keep getting into Europe every season. And if we do keep getting into Europe every season and performing well, the money, the financial reward that we get from that will not only put us ahead of the rest of the pack, it will get us closer to the top too. So, in my opinion, this is the biggest season I can remember as a Hearts fan for a very, very long time. I know there's been a few seasons where we went down, but I always felt like we would go straight back up. I never felt like it was in doubt. This season, I do feel like we need to do well in the league, obviously. We need to do well in Europe, and I would actually like to win something too. It's been a while, 2016, since we last won a cup. As good as we've been the last couple of years, we still haven't won a top flight, domestic trophy. So it would be nice to get that job done right here, right now. But let's move on to the season preview. There's 8 categories that I'm going to go over. Signing of the season, player of the season, top assists. I was going to say top assister, but honestly, I don't know if that's a word or not, so I didn't want to look like an idiot. I'll go with top assist, top goal scorer, and then we're going to discuss League Cup, Scottish Cup, our European adventure, and then the Cinch Premiership. So with that said, let's talk about our signing of the season and who I think it's going to be. Well, I'm happy with the signings so far. We've made quite a load of signings, 6 in total, and I'm actually optimistic that this is going to be probably one of our best transfer periods I can remember, because we've brought in a striker, and it's not only a striker, it's a striker that I believe can genuinely be a 20 goal per season striker, and his name obviously is Lawrence Shankland. Delighted to get Shankland at the club. I wanted him at the club a few years ago, before Dundee United signed him from Ayr. I wanted Hearts to take a chance, we didn't. Even at Dundee United, I still wanted Hearts to sign him from there, but we didn't. Then he moved to Belgium. Obviously, it didn't work out for him. He's decided to come back home to Scotland. And he's picked the third best team, the third biggest team in the country. So I'm hoping that will be, a great partnership, him and Hearts together. We also have signed Alan Forrest from the Scottish Premiership, another player that I'm absolutely buzzing to see in a Hearts shirt in competitive games. I thought he was really good at Livingston. I think you could argue for a while he has been the superior Forrest brother, and I expect big things for Alan Forrest this season. Alex Cochrane, who we did have on loan, we got him back on a permanent deal. And then there was a few other signings that we've made. We also signed Lewis Nielsen from Dundee United, who looks like a top player. I know he's very young, but I would not be surprised if in a couple of years' time, 3 or 4 seasons' time, he is, one of the best defenders in Scotland. That's how good I think Lewis Nielsen could be. But we've also signed George Grant from Peterborough, and Kai Rules from some Australian team. Honestly, don't know much about Rules. I don't know much about Grant. I'm hoping they're going to be good players, but at the end of the day, never seen them, never heard of them before we signed them. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I think they're great or I think they're good, because I honestly, I do not know. Could be the two best players in our team, or they could be absolute shit. In terms of players leaving, I'm happy. Apart from Suter, the traitor, leaving. Didn't want Suter to go, but he decided he wanted to join Rangers, so we can't do a lot about that. But we got rid of McInnes and we got rid of Luke Demore, who was pretty shit. So the players that we got rid of, apart from Suter, absolutely delighted with. For the signing of the season, I'm going to go with Lawrence Shankland, purely based on the fact that I believe Shankland will score a shitload of goals, and I think he will get to 20 goals this season, and for that reason, he's got to be my top, he's got to be my player, he's got to be the signing of the season for me, because I think Shankland will reach 20 figures in all competitions. So, Shankland will be the signing of the season for me. Player of the season, this could be a number of people. It really, really could. It could be anybody. But I'm going to have faith. I'm going to have faith in the man that I think will be our best player again this season. I think you could argue he's been our best player every time he's spent a season at the club. I think you could argue that he's been the best player for other teams when he's been at their club. And I think you could argue that he was absolutely robbed out of 3 appearances at the last Euros. My player of the season is going to be the ever reliant, the ever consistent, the fucking Hearts hero, and sexy bastard. I'm going to go with Craig Gordon. I think Gordon will have another great season. He's getting old, but he does not seem to age, or if he does age, it's like a fine wine, he just seems to get better and better. So I'm going to go with Craig Gordon. Up next, the top assists of the season. Who is going to assist the most goals? Who is going to put the ball on the fucking plate for the strikers to eat? Who's going to do that? Who's going to be the highest assister in the league this season? For me, we've got a number of good passers of the ball. We've got a lot of players with good delivery that can set balls into the box, set up passes, set up goals. We've got lots of players that can do that, but in my opinion, there's 2 that I think can kind of stand out from the rest, and it was a toss-up between an existing player at the club and a player that we just signed, and that was between Alan Forrest and Barry Mackay. I think both these guys could be up there. I expect them to create a lot of chances and create a lot of goals this season, but I've decided I'm going to give the nod to Barry Mackay. And why I'm going to give the nod to Barry Mackay is, he's already been at the club. It's not like Forrest where he has to come into a new setup and has to gel with the rest of the players. Barry Mackay is already an existing player. Plus, I just think Barry Mackay has got a higher level than Forrest. And I think he's more likely to play more games than Alan Forrest. I could see Alan Forrest, starting games, then coming on as a sub, whereas I think Barry Mackay, if he's fit, I think Barry Mackay will start most matches if he's ready to go. So I'm going to put Barry Mackay, but I do expect Alan Forrest to also get a shitload of goals. Make no mistake about it. I think Forrest will create lots of chances this season. Top goal scorer, may I already give it away. I'm going to go with Lawrence Shankland. For me, he will be the number 1 this season. He will be starting up front. I'll be bitterly disappointed if he is not the number 1 over Liam Boyce. Unless Liam Boyce proves me wrong and scores like 50 goals, then that's great. But I do think Shankland will be the main man to lead the attack, and I think Shankland will be our top goal scorer. I'm going to call it 20 goals in all competitions, definitely. In the league, if you can get I think you can get 15, 20, but I think you'll easily get over 20 in all competitions. So that is the player, the individual awards, as you could say, that I'm going to dish out. Signing in the season, Shankland. Player of the season, Gordon. Player with the most assists, Barry Mackay. Top goal scorer, Lawrence Shankland. But there's lots of players I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to see how Craig Halkett does without Suter. It's a big season for Craig Halkett. He needs to step up, and it's not that I'm saying he's been poor enough, and I love Craig Halkett. I think he's a great player, but he is going to go from being I'm not being disrespectful, but he's going to go from being the second best defender in the team to the first best, to the best defender. So it's going to be a big season for him. not having a player the quality of Suter beside him. So, and I think he can step up to it. I think he's more than capable of leading the defence for Hearts, but we'll have to wait and see. And, like I said, lots of big season for lots of players. But let's move on then to the actual competitions. First up, we have the League Cup. A cup that I don't think we've ever done that well in, to be fair. A cup that a lot of teams don't really seem to value. It's over the years, I've seen big clubs go at this League Cup, and they kind of just play it down as the League Cup. I'll be honest, right now, I would say if you offered me Hearts to get a decent league finish and win the League Cup this season and do okay in Europe, I would take it. I would take the League Cup right now. I'm not putting any disrespect on the name of the League Cup. It's been a while since we won a cup, and if it's a league, I'd rather the Scottish Cup, of course, but if it's the League Cup, then so be it. I would take it. But I don't think we're going to win the League Cup. And I actually don't think we're going to do that well in the League Cup. Reason for that being is, I just think with us being in Europe, and obviously the League Cup, the majority of the games are played at the start of the season. I think that out of all the competitions, the League Cup is going to be the least priority. You know what I mean? If we've got European games coming up, and we've got league games coming up, and then we've got the League Cup games, I can easily see a scenario where we field a much weaker side in the League Cup to try and prioritise the Scottish Cinch Premiership and our European adventure, whether that be Europa League or Europa Conference League. So I can see us going out of the League Cup. I do think we will beat Kilmarnock at home. I think we'll get past the last 16. But I'm actually going to, might be a surprise, I'm actually going to say we go out in the quarterfinals. So there you go. I'm going to say quarterfinals of the League Cup. Obviously it depends on the draw. But I've just got a funny feeling that the League Cup this season we might not take as serious as we might have in other seasons. Don't get me wrong, I'd still love to win it, but we are guaranteed group stage European football, and that, will be a massive priority over the League Cup. So it is what it is. Moving on to the Scottish Cup now. What can you say? 3 finals in the last 4 years. We've lost every single one. It's not great. It's nice to get the finals, don't get me wrong. It's nice that we are competitive in these cups and that we keep getting to Hampden, but it would be nicer to actually win one. I mean, that's what I would want. That's what I would love. It's been a while since we won one. I mean, we lost to Celtic 2 years in a row. Last year we lost to Rangers. It was a really bad performance against Rangers. I mean, Suter and Gordon were great. Apart from that, though, no one else turned up. So hopefully we can put that right this season. And I think we could have another good run in the Scottish Cup. Depending on, of course it depends on the draw, It always depends on the draw. You want to try and avoid the Old Firm, because if you get them, you're up against it, obviously. But I think we can have a good Scottish Cup run. The Scottish Cup obviously happens in the latter part of the season. I've got a feeling by that time we might not be in Europe, or else we will be, dwindling out of Europe or whatever. So I think we'll do a lot better in the Scottish Cup than I think we will do in the League Cup. And I'm actually going to go out here and say, with the new signings, with Shankland up front, with the potential that the new guys have got, like Grant and Royals, and I think Alan Forrest will offer us so much going forward, I'm going to give us the benefit of the doubt. I want to see us win a trophy before Craig Gordon calls it time on his career. And I think the Scottish Cup this season, I don't think it's a much a priority for the Old Firm. The reason being is Rangers have now won it, so they've got that donkey off their back whatsoever. So they don't really. I don't think Rangers will be going for the Scottish Cup. I don't think the Scottish Cup will be a target for Rangers this season. Obviously, if they win it, they win it. But I can see the Old Firm focusing more on Europe and focusing more on the league, and especially if it's going to be close, everyone is expecting the league title to be close between those two. It could be that they could still both be in Europe and they could still both be focusing on the league, and they might not fully focus on the Scottish Cup. So I'm going to say that we win this, and I don't think there'll be an Old Firm club in the final. So I'm going to say Hearts win the Scottish Cup. And I think we'll beat somebody else in the final. I've got a feeling both Celtic and Rangers won't be there. Maybe one of them will make the semis, but I've got a feeling that both Celtic and Rangers could get knocked out in the earlier rounds of the Scottish Cup. That's my prediction. I could be wrong. I normally am, but we'll see. let's be real, I think I was the only person after 3 games last season to come out and say that Celtic would 100% win the league, and I got that right. You can go back and watch the video. I said after 3 games Celtic would win the league, and they did. So normally I'm not too bad with predictions, but I've got a funny feeling this might be our year in the Scottish Cup. Who knows, could be wrong. Old Firm could dominate every trophy, but I think the Scottish Cup, the Old Firm may have early exits. Now, in terms of Europe, I've been looking at the teams Hearts could get. So here's how it's going to work. We're going into a Europa League playoff. If we win that Europa League playoff, we go into the Europa League group stages. If we lose that Europa League playoff, we go into the Europa Conference League group stages. So we're guaranteed European group stage football, at least, up until whenever that finishes. I believe it's a little bit earlier this year. Normally it's up till around December, but I think it's going to be the start of November because of the Winter World Cup. But the big question is, which competition are we going to be in? Are we going to be in the Europa League or are we going to be in the Europa Conference League? Now, at the start, I thought it's unlikely that we'll qualify for the Europa League and that we will, probably come up against a big team and then we'll lose and we'll go into Europa League Conference, and I was happy with that. However, after doing a little bit of research and looking at some of the teams that will be coming through, I've actually changed my mind. Now, there's 14 possible teams remaining that Hearts could get in the Europa Conference League playoff, or Europa League playoff, and none of the teams are that great. If I'm being honest, there's no team out of the 14 that I'm looking at thinking Hearts won't be able to beat them. Now, there is some teams that I think are probably better than Hearts, superior than Hearts, but there's no team that, outright I think Hearts would struggle to beat. I'm looking at the toughest ties we could possibly get, and it's probably between Olympiacos and Fenerbahce. Now, would we be favourites in either of those ties? No, we wouldn't. But there's certainly ties we could come out of and win. They're winnable ties. And like I said, those are the 2 toughest teams we could get. So there is a lot, out of the 14 ties, I'd say there's more ties where I think we would actually start favourites than there is we would start as the underdogs. And for that reason, I'm going to have to say that I think we will win our Europa League playoff, and I think we'll qualify for the Europa League group stages, which will take us, obviously, 6 games into the group stage, and then how far will we go after that? Depending on the group, I know at this stage it is hard to tell, but I've got a feeling that we can at least finish 3rd in a Europa League group, which would put us into the Europa Conference League playoff round, and I think that might be where our journey ends. So I'm going to be optimistic here, and I'm going to say we reach the Europa Conference League playoff round. So there you go, that is it. I think we will get to February in Europe. I think we will qualify for the Europa League. I think we'll finish 3rd in the Europa League. I think we'll go into the Europa League Conference playoff. And then, unfortunately, I think that's where our journey might end. And if we do get that far, then I will be absolutely buzzing. But who knows? Depending on the draw, we might not get that far. Depending on the draw, we might even get further. It all depends on the draw at the end of the day. It's easy to predict, like Premiership standings and stuff like that, because you know all the teams involved. In Europe, you've no real idea who you're getting. Even in the Scottish Cup, you've no idea who you're getting on the path to the final. So it is a lot harder in these cup competitions. Moving on though, last but not least, I think the main thing everybody came here for, the Cinch Premiership. We're nearly 20 minutes in, so I won't waste too much time here on giving my answer. I'm sure everybody wants to know. And this season, I think Hearts will be better than last year. Even though we've lost Suter, I think we will be a better team than we were last year. But I also think the teams around us will be better. I expect massive improvements for Aberdeen. I think Dundee United will be a lot stronger. And then there's other teams that I think, could be a surprise package this season, the likes of Kelly. That being said, I still think we'll be too strong for those teams. I still think we'll be better than those teams. And that's why I'm going to predict Hearts to finish 3rd in the Cinch Premiership this season. My opinion, I don't think it'll be a landslide victory into 3rd place. I don't think we'll be double digits ahead. I don't think we'll have 3rd place sewn up before the split at all. I could see it being much closer. But in the end, when 38 games are played, I still think that we will be the 3rd best team in Scotland. I would say who I think will finish 4th, but I am going to do a Cinch Premiership season prediction table later tonight, including all the teams. So I'm not going to give that away right now, but I think we will finish third this season in the league. Anyway, guys, that is it. So signing of the season, I'm going Shankland. Player of the season, I'm going Gordon. Top assist of the season, I'm going Mackay. Top goal scorer, Shankland. League Cup, I'm going to say quarterfinals. Scottish Cup, I'm going to say winners. Being optimistic, but we need to win a trophy for Craig Gordon so he can retire happily. Europe, I'm going to say we reach the playoff round of the Europa Conference League. And in the Premiership, I'm going to say we finish third. Am I being slightly optimistic? Maybe. But I genuinely believe this is what we can and maybe what we will achieve this season. So that's it, guys, for Scotland TV. That's my Hearts season preview for the 2022-2023 season. Can't wait, man. Less than 24 hours to go. Absolutely fucking buzzing. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. I will catch you later. But until then, peace.